I want to help. I want to say something, and I feel like I'm shut out because I'm not a black person, right? But yet I grew up in the black culture. You know, when you talk about Rastafarianism and all of these different like I'm very versed because of the people I grew up with, the culture I grew up in, but yet I may not be respected for the fact that I am not of that race. Like, how do we move past race?
So, if you started the conversation as you just explained it to me and your audience, it would have ultimate validity. The question becomes, if somebody's having a conversation about race and you just come in and say, well, this is what I know about the Rastafarian, blah, 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 that might have somebody jerk back saying, what do you know? You're not black. But when you start the conversation by articulating what you just did to me, I received the same information differently, right? Because I don't want to say you prefaced it because I don't look at it that way. I feel like you're opening up yourself to me because I may not have known where you grew up. I may not know the culture you were around, but you're starting the conversation by saying, "This is who I am."
Right.
You need to know who I am first.
Right.
Then we can have a conversation about A, B, C, and D. And when you start it like that, I received the same information differently. Right? It's not about what you said. It's about how I feel. Right? And people have to remember that it's not about what you said because you're going to give me factually correct information, but I may not receive it if I knee jerk back because I'm thinking you don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
But when you approach me with that sincerity, it's the same information received differently. It's no different than me being an ally for LGBTQ. I'm not LGBTQ. But because of all the time I've spent in the community, I have so many friends now that I didn't even have before. My empathy and understanding about the struggles of the LGBTQ community are eclipse what I knew a decade ago. And I can confidently have conversations with people from the community or people that are not from the community about the struggles, the challenges, and the nuances of the LGBTQ life. Even though I start the conversation saying, that's not who I am.
Right.
I can advocate for women and gender equality, and I'm not a woman. But I understand the challenges. I'm not a woman, but I understand the challenges because I'm well versed in anti-oppression, because I'm well versed in engaging in, some people would say I'm a feminist. I don't know that I need a label so much as I understand that in humanity, women do not receive the same credence or credibility or acknowledgement that men receive. Sometimes a woman has done twice as much work and receives half the credibility. And I know that, I see that, and I try to champion that. But not everybody is like Keith Richards. But it's not about me being a woman. I can still be an advocate and an ally and not be part of that demographic. And I can talk about it fluently and confidently, even though I'm not part of that demographic. So you don't have to be part of that demographic to be a champion for that demographic. I would argue that because of your cultural experiences in Scarborough, that you would have a greater experience in some of the nuances that black people have experienced, particularly because of a lot of blacks in Ontario and in Canada are Caribbean based, than maybe somebody that just a new immigrant that came from Nigeria. They show up and their cultural experience in Ontario might be different than yours, even though you aren't black, but you understand the culture.
Right.
Right? So it's not about color. Because if it was about color, then the person from Nigeria should have instant credibility. But they might say, I have no idea what this Afro-Caribbean culture is that we have in Canada.
Yeah.
Or Ontario or Scarborough.
Yeah.
You might say, I've been around this my whole life. This is right?
This
It's
is
not
life.
about race.
This is life.
Yeah, this is life. It's not about race, right? And so we have to get our heads wrapped around the notion that you don't have to be from the community to be from the community. Right?
You don't have to be from the community to be from the community. And it's interesting because, there is a shared lived experience when you talk about being from certain communities. right? Because I'll even talk about the white guys who grew up in our community.
Yeah.
Right? There are a few of them, not very many, but, right? But there are a few of them.
Yeah.
And when they came around, they almost had to assimilate in some respects to the Caribbean culture.
Yeah.
And you'd see them eating roti and doubles
Yeah,
and
yeah.
oxtail and gravy, and people would be like, "What do you know about that?" Well, they grew up
Grew up
there.
in it.
That is their lived experience,
Yeah.
right? Is that in their time they were exposed to these very real and visceral experiences
Yeah.
that we cannot discount based on the color of one's skin.